Dads, when did you look at your son and think that's my boy? When my 11-year-old son destroyed his math teacher's career after she mocked his dyslexia in front of the entire class. My son Danny has always struggled with numbers jumping around on the page. We discovered his dyslexia early, and I'd spend hours helping him with special techniques to manage it. He worked twice as hard as other kids just to keep up, but he never complained. Then Mrs. Walsh took over his math class. The first week, she made Danny solve a problem on the whiteboard. When he mixed up the numbers, she smirked and said, "Are you stupid or just lazy?" The class went silent. Danny's hands started shaking. "Neither," he said quietly. "I have dyslexia. Dyslexia is just an excuse for not trying hard enough," she sneered. In my 25 years of teaching, I've never had a student who couldn't learn with proper discipline. That night, Danny barely touched his dinner. He begged me not to say anything, worried it would make things worse. But over the next month, Mrs. Walsh's torment escalated. She'd randomly call on him to read problems aloud, knowing he'd struggle. She'd leave his graded tests face up on his desk so others could see the red marks. Everything changed when Danny came home with a D on his math test. Not because he got the answers wrong. The test showed he'd actually solved every problem correctly. But Mrs. Walsh marked him down because his numbers were messy and backward. I was furious, but Danny just smiled. "Don't worry, Dad. I've been recording everything." Turns out Danny had been secretly using his tablet to record every math class for weeks. He captured every insult, every instance of her mocking his disability, every time she encouraged other students to laugh at his excuses. He'd also been writing to the Department of Education, documenting how Mrs. Walsh was violating disability accommodation laws. He researched previous complaints against her and found 3 other families who'd transferred their kids out of her class because of similar discrimination. The next day, during parent-teacher conferences, Mrs. Walsh started her usual speech about Danny's attitude problem. That's when Danny pulled out his tablet and played the recordings. Her face went white, but Danny wasn't finished. He'd prepared a presentation showing how her actions violated specific disability protection laws. He'd gathered statements from other students and calculated exactly how many instructional hours he'd lost due to her harassment. The principal, who we'd invited to the conference, sat there stunned as my 11-year-old systematically laid out a case that would make a lawyer proud. "So," Danny concluded, looking Mrs. Walsh straight in the eye, "you can either resign quietly, or my dad can help me take this to the school board." Mrs. Walsh resigned the next day. The school implemented mandatory disability awareness training for all teachers. Danny's story even made it to the local paper. That evening, I found Danny helping his younger sister with her homework. He wasn't just showing her the answers, he was teaching her the same techniques he'd developed to work around his challenges. "You know what, Dad?" he said, grinning. "Mrs. Walsh was right about one thing. Nothing's impossible with proper discipline. She just didn't expect it to be used against her. I've never been prouder. My boy didn't just stand up for himself. He made sure no other kid would have to go through what he did." The following semester, Danny got a new math teacher who specialized in working with dyslexic students. His grades improved dramatically, but more importantly, he started enjoying math again. Last week, he tutored 3 of his classmates through a tough algebra problem. Now, when students at his school struggle with learning differences, they don't get mocked, they get help.